Hello, good morning everybody. Thank you for coming to join me today. I've come to show you today the latest journal that I've made, and this is my design team project for Artymaze. But before I just go into the journal, I've been asked a couple of questions as to what I reinforce my soft covers with. I don't use card. I don't trust it to remain stable, I guess, with the books being opened and closed. But here in the UK, we get something called pelmet facing that comes on a roll, and it's about 12 inches deep, and then obviously have it cut to however, I usually buy it a couple of metres at a time. And this is just an offcut of it so that you can see kind of the stiffness of it. So it is quite firm. It's like a firm interfacing, I guess, and it's called pelmet facing. And this one, it is cheap, and it's actually iron-on fusible on one side and not the other, so I tend to fuse it to the fabric, iron it on the inside, on the wrong side of the cover, and it just adds that nice stability that I guess card does as well, but it doesn't tear. You can't tear it, it doesn't rip, so it's quite strong. So just get that out the way. So that is what's inside this one. This cover I have made, I don't know if you can see it. So I've done free motion sewing on my sewing machine, which is where you drop the feed dogs, so the teeth under the base of your sewing machine, you drop those so that you can move your material around, because it's the feed dogs that feed the fabric through. So you drop those and then you can do free motion stitching. And that's what I've done on this cover. So I've had some flower shapes cut out of different fabrics, and these have been backed with Bonder web and ironed on and stitched around. So the flowers won't come off, but it will have a frayed effect. So these flowers, they will fray, but they won't fray past the stitching. So it will have a kind of grungy look, I guess, as it gets used and handled, but the flowers, they won't come off. So they won't fray away, they won't disappear or anything like that. I've cut, I don't know if you can see, but I've made the cover out of 1-inch squares of different greens, and they've been stitched on. Fortunately, I found, can you still see that? Okay. I found some interfacing that's fusible on one side, and I don't know if you can see, but that has grid lines on it, and they're 1-inch squares. So the 1-inch squares I was able to place onto that interfacing and iron them on so that they didn't move while I zigzagged them on. So that's how I've made that cover, and I have to say I am pleased with it. I thought it looked nice and spring-like with the flowers and the leaves, so I hope you like it. It's just tied together with some kind of organza ribbon, and I just wanted it to have a nice bright spring feel to it, so all the different shades of green. It's quite a big, you can see it's quite chunky, so it's one signature. It measures just short of 9 inches and just short of 7 inches, and if we open it, hopefully that's all in frame for you. So on the inside, front and the back, I've put little pockets of the fabric that I had left over, and I've also sewn flowers on those as well. So it's got frockets, it's got pockets front and back, and I've lined it with a nice yellow springtime fabric as well. So in the front pocket here, I've made an extra kind of journaling space, so that's just tied together to stop it pinging open. And one of the postcards from the kit, I've just used that as a pocket there on the front. And then on the inside, there's some of the little journaling cards that come with the kit, and they're in the front and in the back as well. And then there's just a little bit of extra journaling space with some offcuts that I had. And then there's a large journaling card with some extra journaling space on it there as well. And then I've used this kit last year as well, and it really is a lovely kit. So I've put some green ruffle on it to try and reflect the leaves around the nest as well. And then there's a pocket here from Edith Holden that I've just stitched around. And again, there's a couple of journaling cards. And here and there all the way through, I've put some quotes out of my Edith Holden, it's a diary, like a calendar diary, birthday book, I think it's called. So I've cut some of them out and I've used them throughout the journal, as you'll see. And then this is one of Mrs Cogs' weather images, and that's from spring. Book page there from a Kate Greenaway book. And then this page is a vintage page from it's a page from a vintage flower book. I think it's a German book actually. I used the book cover a while ago. So that flips up. Hopefully you can see that. And there's a journaling card in there. And you could actually still journal on that space as well if you wanted to. And then behind that there's some extra bits of paper that you can write on or you can tear out and use. And then there's a little pocket underneath it as well, and I've just used one of the pages from the Edith Holden birthday book as well. So you've got some more quotes there if you wanted to use some more, or if you want to put them into a project yourself. One of the pages there from the Edith Holden, that's the smaller book that I found. So I've just used the springtime pages in that. Page from Artymaze there. And then I've used one of the book pages there, folded it over for a pocket. And then I know that's more summertime with the sunflowers, but I just thought the butterfly matched it so nicely in the yellows. So some extra journaling space on there, and again the quotes. Belly band here that I've made out of some fabric snips. And then again, these are Mrs Cogs' Yellow in the Garden. And then that's Artymaze background there. So a nice large journaling page. The kit pages I've backed with, I've put some gesso on. Thanks Andrea, Artymaze, for your videos on using gesso. So I've been brave enough to use gesso, and then I've put ink on the pages. So there's some Tim Holtz inks on there in different kind of yellows and greens, and a little bit of pink, and then some stenciling as well. So rather than printing on the backs, that's what I've done. I've inked them and gessoed. Ladybird book page there. Little fabric snip up there. So there's quite a lot of work gone into this. The cover did take me a while to make, as you can imagine. Another quote there, and then the window envelope that I've used there with the little rabbit peeking through. And there's that rabbit. Lovely image. Then the double pockets that Artymaze uses or has, and then there are pockets. You could use these as pockets if you wanted to. Excuse me, I've had a terrible cold this week. And then just a little couple of journaling cards there. I think this is from the alphabet flower book. Little page there with the rabbit on. And then here we've got one of Artymaze's envelopes, and I've actually lined it with a book page. There's a vintage paper there. Used one of the smaller postcards on there, and then a couple of cards, the smaller cards in there. And then on the inside, I think this is Medieval Mirage, I think. But I liked that it was tulips and hyacinths, and some more of the fabric ruffle snippet bit there. And then one of the journaling cards that I've put onto some papers, a little bit of collage there, some more fabric. So as I say, I wanted this journal to be nice and bright and summery or springy. Some ruffle that I've put down there, and I've embroidered. I don't know if you can see that. So I've not zigzagged it, I've used a decorative stitch on that one. Hopefully you can see it all in screen. Little collage snip just there, and another of the quotes. Some more Edith Holden. And again, that's the rabbit. That was one of the little tickets that come with the kit that I've just cut the rabbit out, and he's looking at the fairy up there. And then this is a floating pocket. So journaling card in there. And then there's some extra space, and that says, if I had a flower for every time I thought of you, I could walk in my garden forever. And I think that paper's from Tracy Fox. So you could glue this in if you wanted to, but I left it floating. Again, that fairy page. Love the colours in that one. Took spot just there. These images are Artymazes. Some stenciling just there on that page. Plenty of room to journal. Another of the cards there with one of the quotes out the book. Some journaling cards in there. Observer book there on eggs. Again, the little snip. Another fabric snip just there. And again, the quotes. And that's the centre page. And in the middle, I've used these little wooden ladybirds, and they're from Sunday Girl journals here in the UK. But I put those butterflies on because of the butterflies in the page. And I thought the greens and the pinks matched. And then there's a double pocket just here. Again, the stenciling on the page. And one of the quotes there with one of Artymaze's butterflies. And just another page out of that Edith Holden book. And then I've included another one of the Observer Book of Eggs in there. Love this lined paper with the images of the flowers on it. Edith Holden there. This is a tuck pocket. With a journaling card in there and one behind. And there's another quote down there. I think that's from Wordsworth. Sorry if I just knocked the camera. Some more stenciling. Another tuck just there. And then this was from Wishes and Weeds is doing a set. Wishes and Weeds is doing a set of Edith Holden ephemera. So I actually had one of the pages that she used, so I thought I'd give it a go, and I just thought it went nicely in this book. So Edith Holden page there, some journaling paper here that can be journaled on, and then there's a glassine bag on the back, and that's got a journaling card inside it. And then I've just put a fabric ruffle on the back there, and then that just hangs over the page. So thank you for that idea. It was the only Edith Holden page that I had that was being used. So I did enjoy making it, and I would like to do it again. So I'm now searching for another Edith Holden book. So you could put something else on there if you wanted to put an image on it. Another, just a little collage up there. And then again, one of Andrea's envelopes that come with the kit. This is the one with the rabbit on. So again, I've made another of the little pockets on the back and the same little journaling card in there. And then that's been backed with some vintage paper. And again, the little fabric snip on there. That goes over the page. And then little journaling card there, again with the fabric on. Again, the other two pockets that come with the kit. So the same little journaling cards in there with the daffodils and the tulips. And the colours of that were just perfect to go with this. Another fabric snip just there. So there's quite a lot going on in this book. This is one of the envelopes that Shabbydabbydodah and Roxy have done, and I've done them before. So it's an envelope, and I've that's acrylic paint because I don't have many ink colours, so that's acrylic paint over one of those plastic tablecloths that I've just painted through or sprayed through it, and I've just done a little collage snip just there. Then that opens out. Doily there that I was gifted. Thank you, Rachel, very much. And a little quote there. Another one of Artymaze journaling calendar cards there that goes in the envelope. And then there's just some extra journaling space just here. And straw paper. Thank you, Rachel. And then that just ties up there. I'll tie that later. And then that's just stitched on. The ladybird book there. And this one is a flip out, so I've made a pocket out of some spare paper that I had. So there's a pocket, whoops Daisy, there's a pocket there of lace on the front, and there's the pocket there in the back. So that just flips out. And it's attached with some yellow fabric, so you can still journal underneath it. And then one of the collage pages from Artymaze, and again I've put the little quote on there. I made a long journaling tag. It just fits in there. Another of the collages there. And some more fabric trim just there. And again the straw paper, and I've just, somebody asked me how I did the sewing on the straw paper. I do the sewing on it, and I've just put some little bits of fabric on there, and then I stick it onto the page, glue it on the page once I've done the sewing. So it just adds a little bit of texture. And then at the back there, I think that fairy is just putting some magic onto this blossom tree. And I think out of all of Mrs Cogs' images, this is from the Yellow in the Garden. I think that is my favourite. I'd love that dress. So a little bit of fairy magic going on there, I think. And then again in the back there's a pocket, and in the back there I've just used the extra journaling tags that came with the kit, and I've just topped them all with some fabric so they all just fit in there. So that is my spring journal. I am making another journal, and I'm using Spring Story Bramble Hedge book, repurposing it, so hopefully I might get that finished in the next week. But this is my spring cover, my spring journal, and I do hope that you've enjoyed looking at it, and thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Bye bye.